Woo! All right. The series, 42 years in the making. Game 1 did not live up to the hype, but we're going to give some analysis on it. Frank, what did you think of Game 1, Leafs, Habs? Was it everything you dreamed of and more?
Ooh, well, no, they lost, so that's it's already off on a good start. But oh man, it's hard to kind of beat a dead horse, right? Listen, we've seen this movie time and time again. We've seen the Leafs have the second best goalie in the game, and this is nothing against Campbell. Just the second best goalie in the game, and the guy on the other side just stole it. And there's really not much else you can say about it. Yeah, the Tavares thing was unfortunate. It was accidental, obviously, but still unfortunate incident. But definitely had an effect on the game. The fight, was a way of trying to get the momentum back. I just didn't feel the Leafs had enough of a sustained pressure all game. Yeah, they had the puck a lot. I thought they were the better team, but I didn't think they had a lot of high-end chances minus the Marner 2-on-1 from Price. So, I expect a little bit more from the Leafs in terms of high danger chances. They had a lot of shots, but nothing that I would really consider like, how did that not go in, right? So from that, I was a little, sketchy on kind of the analysis of the game. So I'm looking for more of that in game 2. And I'm really, again, this is disappointing the special teams. It's 4 power plays on the penalty kill was good. Hey, listen, 3 times the puck over the glass is you had to maybe knew one of them was coming put in the back of the net, but credit the special teams. Montreal's power play is worse than the 0-2 Red Wings. So that's how bad it was. And I'm not talking about Detroit. I'm talking about Toronto Red Wings.
Oh.
But it's just if there's a worse power play in the league in Toronto, it's Montreal's. And but that's the thing about the power play. They had a chance of getting back in the game or even putting Montreal away, and it's not there. So a lot of things to break down, Bobby. I don't know. What do I'll jump it to you. What do you thought? What you're thinking, and kind of where the adjustments need to be made for game 2?
Yeah, the series is going to be dubbed the Battle of the Awful Power Plays to see which one is the least awful. It might even come down to shorthanded goals to see, because I watched the Leafs or the Canadiens power play, and I'm like, the Leafs look more dangerous. Like, I'm more worried that the Habs are going to give up a goal than they are going to score when they're on the power play. The power plays are terrible. The John Tavares stuff, obviously it's awful. Hopefully he's okay. That's first and foremost is his health and safety. Corey Perry, I love Corey Perry. He didn't do it on purpose, but with a guy like Corey Perry, I'm sitting there going, I think he wanted to give him a little shot. Now, we don't know. He didn't want to hurt him. Let's throw that out there for people that are going to jump on Corey Perry. He plays on the edge, but that was a really quick situation. And I think he wanted to just kind of – it's hard to explain unless you've played the game. You want to kind of almost send a message there where as the guy's going down, you almost give him a little one. But that's what I don't know what he was thinking. I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to assess it. Either way, Foligno stepping up is great. It's great for the Leafs. It put everything to bed. He brought that up in the post-game interview, and I loved it. He said it just put everything to a stop, where you could see Perry and Weber saying it was an accident. He said that doesn't matter. And he's right. It doesn't matter. You got to fight there. And good for Corey Perry fighting. And he was saved from having to fight Bogosian and Simmons. So yeah. Foligno did him a favor.
Just add up that, and I think the other thing it did was, you can see the mood in that place. Obviously, there were no fans, but the silence was almost like sickening, like to my stomach of how silent it was. And, even hearing, hey, calling the doctors over, it's like, wow. I think Foligno had to do that to get his guys refocus. It didn't lead to a goal, but the last thing that they would need is just, again, playing with that look on their face of like, oh my God, what just happened, right? So I think it was just more. It was also a momentum changer in some respects. I think just to get them through the period and have them regroup in the second. So 24 hours after it, I understand it more as to why. Maybe in the moment I was like, not like, but
Oh.
it's making more and more sense now. And I made this point that Foligno's a former captain. He knows what it's like to lead. He knows what it's like to protect. So, hey, good on him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd do it again.
And now in game 2, Corey Perry doesn't have to get run from behind as a message from the Leafs to say you can't do that.
It's done now. It's done.
It's done. It's over with. They might give him a little more attention, a little more special attention, as we know in the business means a couple extra shots, but it's done. It's over, and now we don't talk about it. Now we don't talk about Tavares. We focus on the series, and for me, after the fight, the Leafs were a lot better. They were kind of sleepwalking through the first period, and they were feeling each other out. It's the first game of a series with your big rival. They were just kind of feeling each other out, and then the Leafs just absolutely took control from about halfway through the first period on. It was the hits were 44-19, and I said this isn't because Montreal's overly physical. It's because the Leafs have the puck. You can't hit somebody if you have the puck. They had the puck for.
It's an overrated stat. I don't like that. It's useless to me, to be honest with you.
You could see, like, watching the game, it was like Montreal was slightly more physical, not 44 hits to 19 more physical, and it was just the fact that the Leafs had the puck, which showed that the Leafs controlled most of the game. And in the third period, it was just like they started slow, they came on really strong. Will Nylander had a great second period after I gave him the old announcer's curse, where I said I don't notice him, and then 2 seconds later he has an Eric Lindros shift where he just did everything. And then the third period was just
same number too.
Yeah, right. So, and then the third period was just like so boring and blah, and it was just there. And then Byron scores an unbelievable shorthanded goal, and then it was just like it didn't even feel like a playoff game in the third. And you know what? I haven't addressed this. Maybe it was the fans. Maybe it just didn't have that feel because of the fans. Because I'm watching, some other teams, and it's like the intensity is there.
I didn't like that third period. I honestly expected a lot more in that third period. I expected a really big pushback. Actually, I expected them to take over in the third. And man, but you had that feeling where the next goal goes in is going to win. And unfortunately, isn't it odd that the goal that puts the game away is a shorthanded goal, which goes to show how bad the Leaf power play has been. It's the shorthanded goal, and Montreal's the most dangerous team shorthanded. It was not a good recipe for this Leaf power play. Again, we can dissect it every which way, and I think we can agree that it's going to be a key to the series. And if they only have the one shooter as an Austin Matthews, and they don't do something different with the personnel on that and load up on that power play one now, it's going to be the detriment. And it's 2 years now. It's 2 years that they've had this issue where this power play has been non-existent. So you know what? It is what it is. It's in the past. I now look at game 2. I look at the practice today. I look at the lineups and the changes. We have Galchenyuk coming in, who should have been in the lineup for the first, from the start. You don't mess with a lineup that's working. And Engvall, who had credit to Engvall, because there used to be a stat with the Leafs, if you follow this team, that every time Engvall scored, they actually lose. So he got out of that habit. He actually scored in 3 of his final 4 games. He was riding a hot stick, so I'm glad he gets back in and gives that third line a little bit more size, a little bit more speed. So they've really added a lot of more size and skill into this lineup. So again, it gives me more trust and more confidence knowing that in the second game they're going to come out guns firing. Because if they go down 2-0, going to Montreal playing a back-to-back, this thing could be over by next week if they don't figure this out. Because the last thing you want is a massive seed of doubt seeping in.
And when they have Carey Price, you never know. I mean, you don't know how. Like, this is his time of year, Carey Price. And again, I said they're comfortable in this role. There was a play that really intrigued me with Marner on the 2-on-1, not the one where Carey Price made the 10 bell save. What was that, like a 600 bell save? That was one of the greatest saves I've seen in a long time. But the second period I believe it was just off the penalty kill.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He got caught from behind. That almost summarized not Mitch Marner, partly Mitch Marner, but also this team where there was just such a lack of urgency.
Yep.
It was like the playoff. It was almost like symbolic or metaphoric that the playoffs kind of caught right up to them, and it was it was like, do you not know that guys are going to try in a 2-on-1 in the regular season? And this is where this team has to be a little smarter. In a 2-on-1 in the regular season, a guy's not going to back check that hard. It's the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
So how did you not know he was coming? And it's the same thing for the power play. In the power play, in the regular season, when guys aren't dialed in every game, and I don't want to go to another sport, but I like doing this. Like, everybody thinks the Brooklyn Nets are going to roll the playoffs in the NBA, but nobody plays defense during the regular season. Playoffs, they start playing defense. Same thing. These games are centralized. They're focused. You're going to see the same team 7 times potentially within 2 weeks. They're going to basically see that you do the same thing every time off the power play, and they're going to take that away. So, yeah, the Leafs got to do something different.
Yeah.
And
just to touch on that, Rob, before that power play, we've talked about it already. My recommendation is having one shooter on that power play is not going to get it done. Montreal knows where the puck is going. They've adjusted where the puck is going. Price knows where the puck is going. He's already moving over to his left side, taking the shot from Matthews. So now you have to look at it and say, okay, if I'm a power play coach and I'm saying this team has to respect my shooters, I have one shooter out of 5 on that first power play unit, and it's Matthews. So Marner's not scared of me. Riley's definitely not scared of me. Thornton hasn't shot since 2012. And Hyman's in front of the net. Hyman's will do the jam play. So who's your other shooting threat on this team? Right? I guess it was Tavares, but it's got to be Nylander. So you have Matthews on one side, Nylander on the other. I'm also getting Spets out there if I get a chance. It's just load up on that first unit, and just say, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks, because it's not working. And listen, we love Joe Thornton, but buddy, on that first unit, playing a minute and a half, minute 40, ain't gonna work. Sorry, pal. It's not 2008 anymore.
Do you know what really bugs me about what you just said? Mm-hmm. Is that all season I've been sitting there going, the Leafs have had a comfortable lead in the division. They've gone wire to wire. They've been the front runner. Wouldn't it have been a good time to maybe try some stuff to see what else worked? I've said, why not try a box and one with this team? Because I think it might work with the passers. They can hit seams. Wouldn't it have been great maybe midway through the season to go, why don't we try some stuff? Try some different lines. Frank, we and you have both.
They've tinkered, man. They've loaded up. They've went to 2 units. I don't know.
We're very rarely on the same side, but I've said I like Matthews playing with Nylander. They never tried it during the year. Now we don't know. Now's not the time to kind of experiment with this kind of stuff. Okay. The last thing that I want to talk about, and this is less about game 1 and more about the series. We talked about on our pod, Puckin pod. If you're not, great pod, great insight. But we talked
no bias.
We talked about Kotkaniemi and Caulfield, and we said, why would they do that? And I didn't bring it up in the pod, but I'd love to talk about it. The Montreal Canadiens tipped their hand of how they want to play this series. They're saying, we're not going to try and outskill you. We don't want skill. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to play dirty. We're going to play grimy. We don't think they have the size or the strength or the defensive prowess right now at this point to play that type of style. They're going full Columbus, sit in the middle of the ice, make you come through. It turned out to be, at least for game 1, really smart decision, because I'm sitting at, you can't have kids out there if you're going to play that kind of style. They've basically committed to saying, we understand you're better. We're going to take away middle ice. We're going to make the game ugly and messy and mucky. And you're not going to have, like you said, those 3-minute shifts in zone. We're going to play this basically the same as Columbus. Basically the same as Columbus, and say it's going to be ugly, it's going to be messy, it's going to be sloppy, it's going to be tougher, it's going to be grittier. And now it's time for the Leafs, who did not face adversity all year. It is now your time to show Toronto what you got.
And I think this is a big thing for the roster itself, because if this would be the second year in a row, if they don't adjust to a team that's playing playoff hockey, Toronto's not playing playoff hockey right now. I know it's only game one game, but to see a trend, if that happens for the second game, you cannot go on with this roster. It would have to be a complete, whether it's the staff or whether it's the core. Okay, we don't want to look down there, like that's the extreme kind of the extreme end result. But you're right, man. I'm watching Carolina and Nashville right now. Nashville's not a good. It just, you can tell the urgency is there, the battles, the short pass. Like last night was a regular season game to me. It didn't have that feel. And if that's the case, and we're gonna get that in game 2, it's not looking good, man. And I think you're on the right track. You're on the right track with this. It's Montreal. They're looking behind him with the best goalie in the series here. So come beat us. Yep. If he's going to play like that, come beat us. We'll wait for you to make a mistake. Yeah. We'll go back the other way and we'll score.
This is the Columbus playbook. It's like a carbon copy, and this is the definition of irony. You sit there saying this as over your right shoulder, I'm staring at a man who probably could still play right now, who was like the epitome, Gary Roberts, the epitome of playoff hockey, who in his, right there, who shaking hands looks angry and intense. The irony of you saying that as I stare at Gary Roberts is remarkable. So, well, we'll see what they got in game 2.
And we'll be right back here, hopefully in a better positive light, but we'll break it down either way. So,
hey, if you like this pod, if you like this analysis, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button.
Keep the comments coming, man. We love it. Yeah. Listen, the Instagram's been taking off. Twitter's been great. YouTube's been awesome. We're on, like I said, we're missing our third wheel. We're missing our guy, Joe Choff. So we figure 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So we'll be doing a lot more of this. So listen, and if we're right, we're wrong. We want to hear about it. What would you do with the lineup? We want to hear, the feedback from all you guys out there as well. So.
Hey, predictions in game 2. We also ripped a wonderful Instagram live. So if you're not following the Instagram page, get on there. It was quality. The best thing you're gonna see.
Game 2, we'll definitely do that again maybe from our own couch. It's that easy. It's that easy.
Pants not required.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's Puckin Pod after dark.
On that note,
let's get out of here. All right, game 2. We'll see you after game 2. Thanks, guys.
That was great. Okay.